it's kind of obvious, or it should be, that we can't just have Bool variables to compare. We can actually compare other data types as well using comparison operators. We can always check if they are equal to each other, but we can compare any two values of the same data type by checking for greater than or less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or even not equal to. So we're going to start a Scoville scale using integers, which means we're going to actually start a new scene and a new script for this. So for those of you that have not heard of the Scoville scale, it measures the intensity of chili peppers. We're going to be starting at the top of this scale, which I got from the Wikipedia page for the Scoville scale. We're going to create one integer serialized field to manipulate the level of heat the user wants. So it's going to look something like this. Serialized field, int choose your heat, and then we'll start inside update with a basic if else. So if, and we're going to check for anything above this 855 value. So if choose your heat is greater than or equal to 855,000, we can print something out. Okay, and then otherwise we're going to call them a wuss for not being able to take the heat. So let's go back to our Unity. We're going to create a folder for day 3.1. We're going to go ahead and save scene as. When you do save scene as, you can actually get to the folders and you can just directly save the scene into the folder. So day 3.1, save. We'll go ahead and move that script in there. We're going to create a new folder for day 3.2. And we're going to go into day 3.2. We're going to start a new scene. Create C# script. Now, last name, first name, underscore day 3, underscore 2. Because remember, we cannot use spaces or dots in any of our file names or our class names, which typically happen to be the same thing when we're dealing with Unity. So we're going to go ahead and save that. Create our empty game object. Drag our script and open it up. Okay, so first thing we need is our serialized field. Int choose your heat. And we're going to set it at its highest amount, which is, let's see, 2,480,000. So now when you're typing in a large integer like this, you do not put in the commas. It's just the whole number. Okay? Now, we're not going to be using the start because we want to actually choose your heat. So we need to put this in update. So we're going to start with if choose your heat is greater than or equal to the lowest value at the top. So if choose your heat is greater than or equal to, make sure they're put together, 855,000, then debug.log oh god why. For those of you that don't know, that's like on the lower end is the ghost pepper, and on the higher end is Carolina Reaper. If you go to the Wikipedia page, it has a whole list of peppers in this oh god why section. All right, so now we also wanted to put in an else. So if it's any other value, then we're just gonna say debug log wuss. Debug.log wuss. All right, save. Now, if you have issues where this choose your heat is not showing up, what you need to do is you need to go in here and let's see. You may have to actually do this run with start, or we need to actually do a build and compile. That way it'll actually refresh this inspector here on Unity. Okay, so if we start this one now, there's our oh god why. Now let's go ahead and bring this down. So when you get to a certain point, doing that scroll is not going to work. So let's put in 1000. And there's our wuss. Okay, so the basic if else. But the problem is we're missing the rest, right? So we need more choice, more levels of the Scoville scale represented. So that's where else if and logical operators come into play. So you've seen the comparison operators. There's the greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, less than, equal to, not equal to, and of course our equals to. And then what we have is, if we look at the next level down on the scale, it actually goes from 350,000 to 580,000. There's a huge gap in between the highest level of heat to the next one down, which means we can't just check if something's over 350,000. We have to check if it's greater than or equal to 350,000 and less than or equal to 580. And in order to do that, we're going to end up using the AND operator. It's 2 ampersands. So if you see here, choose your heat. I'll highlight that, not change the text. Undo. Highlight. Highlight. So if we do an else if, choose your heat greater than or equal to 350,000. Choose your heat less than or equal to 580,000. So we can add this else if in. The thing is that the if must be the starting thing and the base else must be the very last thing. So we can add as many of these else if statements in between our beginning if and our ending else as we need to. So let's go ahead and do our next level down. So we want to make sure that we're putting it in between and first if. So we want to make sure we put it after the first if statement. And before the final else. Final else. So we'll use the space here. We'll do else, if, and else ifs, because they are also making choices, they also have a set of parentheses, unlike the regular else. So else if choose your heat is greater than or equal to 350,000 and choose your heat is less than or equal to, let's see, 580,000. 580,000. Okay, so debug.log. It's your funeral. Now this and means that this condition and this condition must be true. This is going to be the most likely logical operator that you'll use. Let's go ahead and test this first, and then I'll show you the other logical operator, which is or, which means either one of these can be true. Okay, so stop playing, make sure I save the file. All right, so there's our oh god why. So let's do 400,000. There's the it's your funeral. Okay, and of course then we can drag either way. Now here's something. Let's try something in the 600,000 range. Notice that wuss is coming up again. This may actually mean that we shouldn't have this else, because we have such a gap in the scale itself between the highest heat and the second one down. We may actually want an else if at the end to go from 0 to 100 or 0 to 99. So let's go ahead and do that, because we don't have to have a final else. We can have a starting if and a whole bunch of else ifs. So I'm going to change my comma to final else if. Else if choose your heat is greater than or equal to 0, and choose your heat is less than 100. Now, why did I do less than 100? Because if we look back at the Scoville scale, it just says 0. It doesn't actually say 0 to 99. The Scoville scale actually technically starts at 100 and goes to 1000 for that first level. So we only need to check for the wuss part for being 0 up to 99. If we did less than or equal to 100, 100 would be included in that. All right, let me go ahead and save. And I'll show you why that works. So I am going to put in a comment. That says first real Scoville level. And this is going to be an else if as well. And we're going to say choose your heat is greater than or equal to 100. And we need to go up to 1000. And choose your heat is less than or equal to 1000. All right, so if we do less than or equal to here, I'm going to go ahead and save. And I'm actually going to change this to 248. So notice I'm changing the value at the top. That way I don't have to retype it in over here. Stop. There's a compile error. Oh, I forgot to finish off that actual else if. I'm putting a debug.log. So now you know. If you haven't finished an else if and put the actual curly braces, unexpected symbol else is going to happen. And for this first level, we're going to do, come on, you can eat something hotter. Because we're mean and taunting people. All right, so save. And our errors should clear. If I clear everything, no more errors pop up. Now if I play, notice it still has this at 248. 2,480,000. So we will go ahead and start at 102. Come on, you can eat something hotter. All right, let's watch and see. So here's 99, and there's wuss, and 100. Let me go to 100. Come on, you can eat something hotter. So that works for us here. But let's change our ands to ors. So these are two bars. That is considered an or. So either one of these can be true. Okay? This or is made by holding shift and hitting the backslash, which is right above the enter key. So I'm going to change both of these to ors. We're going to save. Of course, we have to restart. And 102. and 99. Come on, you can eat something hotter. So, even at 99, we're just getting this. Even at -2, we're still getting, come on, you can eat something hotter, instead of our wuss. Now, you do not have to copy this, but I will show you how everything changes. So I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to move it up to this empty space. So now we have what should be our final else if above that first real Scoville level. So I'm going to start this. 102. Oh, you can eat something hotter. 101. 100. I forgot to save. That's why it's not changing. Save. Play. $102. And notice, even on 102, we're getting wuss. Doesn't matter what's happening here, because it's the number is greater than 0. It's because this one is true, this is what's going to print. And it doesn't print this because it skips over it. When you have a daisy chain of else ifs like this, it's going to run the first one it gets to that is true. And this, because 173 is greater than or equal to 0, this is true. Make sense? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and undo what I just did there. I'm going to put my ampersands back. So, and that is Control Z. So you should have the top 2 Scoville levels, starting first with the if for choose your heat is greater than or equal to 855,000. And then you should have 2 ending else ifs with a space in the middle. Make sure you save. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and give you time. I want you guys to finish inputting the else ifs for the rest of the Scoville scale. And this will be your first, be one of your entries in for the test. Is the entire set of ifs and else ifs for the Scoville scale.